Vil, welcome to Brighouse Town TV. We've now finished the season of 2022-23. We finished in eighth place. What would you take on that start of year?
Um, Probably not, if I'm honest. I'd have taken it in the mid part of the season, when we were sort of, struggling with availability of players and depth of squad. But at the start of the season, we were really optimistic and thought we could, should, and would have, been competing at the top end of the table, and we did to start with. We had a brilliant start. I think winning six or out of the first seven, or six out of the first eight, something like that. So it was a good start, and then sort of obviously we had the middle part of the season where really difficult. So yeah, would I have taken eighth? Probably not. No. But then as the season unfolded and the sort of issues that we had during it, I guess eighth was a positive finish in the end.
Yeah, obviously at the start you had obviously the likes of Morcast come in at the start. You seem to have recruited a really strong squad. You had the likes of Bobby who came in from Bradford as well. I just think we started with Headman, which obviously was a defeat to start the season, but the boys reacted from that and obviously start the season pretty well.
Yeah, we did. I mean, like you said, we had the likes of to Bobby Moore coming to the team, hit the ground running straight away and scoring goals. At that time, Lawrence was fit. So yeah, we were in a really good place and we looked really strong. And then within the matter of a month, we lose Harrison Beeden, who's been a stalwart in my back four. He moves on to Whitby and does well there. Obviously, with our blessing, definitely. Great lad Harrison, so we lose him. Then we lose Mo to Guiseley. We lose Bobby Poynton, who also he moves on to, I think it was Farsley that he moved on to. So, and that had a really bit, and then we lost Lawrence due to injury, and that decimated our squad really and decimated our strength. There were four massive players for us at the time that point in the season, and it had a real big impact on our attacking threat at the time. And then obviously with the likes of sort of Corey getting suspended at key points during that middle period as well, missing, I think it was a total of 6 games. He ended up missing due to kind of back-to-back suspensions. So yeah, it was a tough period, and like I say, that those losing those players at the time it just derailed us a little bit, and we struggled to come back for it at that key point in the season.
Yeah, I'm going to say because every team there have injuries, they have players that go elsewhere, so it happens to every single team. But when
Yeah.
it was that many players that when it happened to us in terms of injuries, suspensions, players moving on, I mean, it showed in terms of the results, didn't it? Around the October, November, December time.
Yeah, and everybody knows it's no secret we haven't got the depth or the ability to replace what we had with the same level of quality. We're really meticulous in our recruitment and how we get players in, and that's shown by the players that have gone on to play at a higher level. The majority of the players that we bring in from a lower level or that are not established or not played men's football before, and we show we invest in them and give them the confidence to go on and play. And like I said, that time those players were crucial to us, and we lost them at the wrong time, and we never really recovered until at the latter part of the season really, when we started to pick up results and get back on track. But even during that period we were still competitive. We just couldn't kill teams off, even during that period where we were struggling. We were still more than competitive in terms of attitude and effort, but we just couldn't kill teams off, and that was down to the lack of firepower or fluidity in the forward line at that time.
Obviously we've got through January, February, halfway through March, and we started to look down the table rather than look up it. But then I think the changing point, and if you agree with me, was that Stockton game.
Yeah, I mean, it was, we looked at a few things. Funnily enough, it was probably the Stockton game was probably in terms of squad depth and strength and experience and overall quality, is probably the weakest we've been all season. I had 12 available players. One of them was a keeper. 13 available players, and one of them was a keeper. And we managed to dig in and sort of dig a result out a quality side. So really, it was really pleasing then. And then, so what did make a lot of the difference was obviously, getting a little bit more firepower in the front line with the Mo Cass and Rion Potts coming into it. Again, two players that had not played much football this season, so they were very ring rusty, but they did have that little bit to get us a goal. If they got enough chances or got the right chances, and fortunately enough, we created quite a bit of chances. We do create chances, and we got the goal. More showed that against Stockton, and as I say, we went on from there.
Yeah, obviously we had a really good end to the season, and although it wasn't made public by the club, I know people knew that obviously you had your stadium band gaffer, and obviously Zeph and Stacey were in charge for that latter period. Do you think, with the players knowing that you was obviously watching via a live stream as well, do you think that motivated them a bit more?
I think the players just did it. That whole situation was, I think, was done to, the less said about it, the better, in the fact that it was done in a way that was more about other stuff than what actually happened, to be honest. But from the players' point of view, we did the preparation. We went through, I obviously still, picked the side and went through that, and then went through everything with the players beforehand. And obviously Stacey and, in line with Stacey and Zeph. And the boys picked up and were professional in their attitude. And I think the whole sort of situation and how it come about, it was an us against the world type of mentality. And what it certainly did is it motivated the lads to show that we're all in it together. No matter what, good times or bad, and everyone just sort of did their job, and we it showed in the performances and in the result. Because, as I say, the lads respected Stacey and Zeph, and they didn't let the noise of what had gone off, which they were fully aware of, affect their performances and their approach to the game, which is credit to them, and credit to the group, and definitely credit to obviously Stacey and Zeph for filling the void. Although, like I say, it was still all of us, putting it together. But certainly, being thrown into it as they were, credit to them for picking the mantle up.
Yeah. In the season as well, obviously last season we managed to get around the 8th place again, and a cup run. It weren't so much this year in terms of the FA Cup, the FA Trophy, or the County Cup. Is that something that you'll be looking to actually get a run in next season, Gaffer? Actually get that FA Cup win?
I do every season. The FA Cup, particularly, is a competition that I just feel it's a curse in the fact that can't seem to progress in it. Since I've been at the club, it's one thing where we just, it's one thing or another where we just can't get over the line, over that first hurdle to start with. I definitely think it's something we're capable of as a club and as a group, but it's just one of them things. And listen, everybody wants to go on a good cup run, and but ultimately no one at our level is ever going to win it. They're only sort of fairy stories, really, in terms of teams getting to first round proper and all that kind of stuff. It would be great. Let's not get it twisted. It would be great to have an FA Cup run or an FA Trophy run. But ultimately, they're a little bit like lottery wins in essence. You need the luck of the draw, you need the luck on the day, you need things to go your way, and that's not something Brighouse Town are blessed with in that sense. So, although we'll keep trying, next season we'll go again in those both competitions. But like I say, for the to quantify a season, you're looking at league positions and where you're finishing.
Yeah, and speaking ahead of next season in terms of preparations, our season finished about 2 weeks ago now, and me and you, Gaffer, I know you'll be prepping for next season already. So how are preparations going in terms of things like pre-season fixtures and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, sort of, excuse me. So generally, I get things done quite early. With sort of this season, I wanted to sort of, because of it has been a sort of up and down season in terms of results and squad depth and all the rest of it. And so what we've decided to do is sort of assess everything. We're 7 years in now. Obviously, 2 of those key seasons have been COVID, but assess everything. We know we want to keep, and you pretty much want to keep the majority of the squad together. So we certainly put sort of offers on the table for the majority of the squad, but we've got to assess what we need to bring in. There will be some movement. I don't want to put anything out there public at this point, but there will be some movement from players. There always is. One we're hoping moves on to maybe a League One or a Championship side, but we'll keep that under wraps for now until it's all official. But it's like anything. It's you get to this time of the season, it's a little bit silly season. So what I want to do is make sure, or what we want to do rather, is make sure we keep the core of the squad together, the key players, and then obviously recruit in the right areas, the right types of players. We'll run with we can only run with a small squad, but because that's where we sit. But we'll run with a small squad of quality, or as much quality and hunger as we can get together. So that's the plan. Obviously, conversations are taking place. They always do this time of season, but it always irons itself out during pre-season and come the start of the season. So yeah, we're looking to keep, as I say, the majority of the squad together. 70-80% of the squad together will be the plan, and then from there we'll look to recruit sensibly.
Yeah, and just speaking there about the players, obviously the players that we've got now, and we're looking to keep. Obviously thinking the ones that are contracted to the club, the likes of Lawrence, Jack Boyle, Javel, Mo Cass. How are conversations going with them?
Yeah, so we've exercised options on Lawrence. Obviously, Lawrence has not played much football. Now it's one of them. Obviously, Lawrence has still got to prove his fitness, and that he's overcome, and his body can sort of last the season. It's one of those things we've had honest conversations. He's a great kid, and it's been hurting him not playing. He wants to sort of kick on and play as high as he can. But unfortunately, he's not had much football to be able to sort of do that. After the success of his first sort of full season, which was not last season, season before, where he finished second top scorer, he looked good again to come into it and do that. Unfortunately, he missed the majority of pre-season and then come into it and then was unfortunate with injuries. So yeah, but I've got a lot of faith in Lawrence that we can get him back fit and get his confidence back and get him going again. So we'll assess obviously Lawrence in terms of his fitness, but yeah, Lawrence is certainly one we've exercised an option on, despite the fact that he's not played much football. And then that obviously it's a little bit different situation with players like Boyle, Javel, and Mo Cass, who are Boyle, who's been absolutely top draw. He's bought into everything that we've got him doing and how he plays. We're getting the best out of him, and I think that's what's key with Boyle. When he's happy and when he's playing in a situation where he can enjoy his football and have a meaningful impact, that's it, and he's happy. So with Jack, it's a case of this season's been absolutely phenomenal for him in terms of goals and assists. And as I say, we're looking to keep Jack. We've got good conversations with Jack. I don't see him going anywhere, and that's the same with the likes of Javel and Mo. And now, if clubs at a higher level are coming for any of those lads, I'm not one to stop in their way. However, we've not had any interest of anyone approach the club or inquire about any of them at this moment in time. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm planning with those individuals in the group. So yeah, as I say, it could all change. If a club higher up comes in, we'll listen and we'll discuss it with them. But at this stage, that's not the case. So we expect them to be with us next season. And then obviously the others, the non-contracted players, as I say, we've had good conversations with the likes of Josh and Hayden, who all sort of committed and want to stay with us. And we'll be looking to sort that out when the league allows, because it's a different sort of process now in terms of the system. So there'll be no sort of official anything now until it's all it's all official through the league and the paperwork's done and all that type of stuff. So from my point of view, as I said, the conversations that I've had with the lads are all positive, and I don't expect to lose anyone that we want to keep, to be honest.
Yeah, I just wanted to speak about a couple of players from this season just gone who I thought were top draw. Obviously, you mentioned Jack Boyle there, who's obviously become the man who's led the goals. He's the fans player of the season, and he's just been up there with goals, assists, and his performances. But also Javel as well, playing a new position, a position he probably didn't really want to play. To be honest with you, he has to do more defending than attacking. But even so, he managed to get up and down that flank every single game when he played that position. And at back end of the season, he won best players on pitch, wasn't
he? Yeah, I mean, with Javel, he had a good start to the season and a good finish. So Javel's still learning sort of his sort of attributes and his strengths and sort of where he can be most effective. I think at times, as in a front three, he was unplayable and he was brilliant at the first part of the season. But then you go into the core part of the season and he's not so effective. And then obviously, like I said, we look at changing a few bits and putting him in different positions. And he's come to his strengths have come to the fore a little bit, surprisingly, to be honest, because as I say, the role that he plays or he's played recently, his defensive strengths have probably come to the front just as much as his attacking ability. And what he seems to have done, certainly in the last sort of 6, 7, 8 games, is he showed a bit more maturity on the football. I thought, certainly in the early part of the season, he tended to sort of hang on to the ball a little bit too much, but now he's understanding when to move it on and when to receive it again and get in the right position. So, and then ultimately know his job out of possession. So he's been brilliant in that, and it's credit to him. But as I say, all players develop at different ages and different stages, and he seems to be sort of doing that in this particular position at this moment in time. But with Javel, it's always about the consistency and doing it for a full season or certainly 25 games plus, and he's capable of doing it. I believe he can do it, otherwise he won't be here. But he's still got to do it, and that's the key part. As I say, he's been brilliant for the first 8, 9, 10 games of the season. He was absolutely fantastic, and the last 8 games of the season he was really good, or 7 games of the season, whatever it was, he's really good. So it's just that consistency throughout the season when things are a little bit tough and the pitches aren't as pretty and the conditions aren't as comfy. It's those ones. But yeah, he's a great lad, Javel, and he'll do well.
Yeah, and then looking ahead to the new season, Gaff, and looking into the league season for the 2023-24 season, what's your plans? What you're aiming for?
Well, listen, I always like to do better than I did previous season. Now, this season, funnily enough, we finished on more points this season than we did last season. Weirdly enough, but we finished a position lower. So we've kind of done a little bit better than last season, but worse at the same time, in the sense of we've scored more goals, we've got more points, but we've conceded more goals than we did last season. So it's a mixed bag. Like I say, I always want to do better than I did last season. Now, for me, next season, it's difficult to say, you want to go for the playoffs, because there's lots of teams that want to do that and are going to be fighting to do that, and are going to be spending to do that. So that's going to be the aim. That's always going to be what we're going to try and do, compete in the top end of the table for longer periods. I think if we'd have had a stronger middle section of the season, we'd have certainly, because the last 2 seasons we've finished really strong. At the end of the running, last season we were really strong. I think going 13 games unbeaten in the latter part of last season. Sorry, the season before the one that's just finished, and then this season we finished really strong again. So again, if we can get the start in the middle right, based on what we've done before, we can have a real push for it next season. So that'll be the aim, is to start like we did the season that just gone, this last season, and then to have a stronger middle section of the season, so then we can really have a push for it towards the end. So that'll be the target, to try and, as I say, sneak into them playoffs.
Yeah, and the league's looking even more competitive for this season, coming in with the teams that are coming down and the teams that are coming up. It's looking to be a strong league again, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you take Worksop out of it, and who did what they were supposed to do, and did it really well, in terms of winning the league at the level that they did, and in the end, how comfortable they did it. Don't get me wrong, they worked hard. I'm not saying that they didn't, but if you look at it, they breezed it in all essence. You take what works up out of it, and it was, everybody was capable of beating everybody at any point during the season, which does make for a really competitive league. It does make for a really sort of interesting, exciting league. I think it'll be the similar sort of thing next season. Obviously, you've got the likes of Liversidge coming into it, North Ferriby, who are a very big club, sleeping giant, coming back into the league as well. And then you'll have the northern teams or northeast teams that come into it as well. So yeah, it will be very, I think, a lot tighter. There would be a lot more teams, vying for promotion. I mean, you've seen it this season where, January, February time, you still got right down to probably 15, 16 capable of getting in the playoffs at that time, with what fixtures were left. So that's how tight it was. There wasn't like a runaway pack or a top 10 or a top 7 that basically got the running sorted. It was a case of, 15th, 16th could have still, and look at the run Long Eaton went on to eventually win the playoffs, and credit to them and what they've achieved based on how they started the season, based on where they were in the mid part of the season. And the run they actually went on to get into the playoffs and eventually win it. It shows you that the league is very close and is very competitive, and there's not much difference between the teams outside of your, as I say, Worksop towns. And although there'll be ambitious teams next season, and there'll be teams with strong budgets and strong resources, I think the likes of a Worksop town and the level that they've set, I don't think that'll be achieved for a long time.
Yep, nice one. Well, thanks for joining us. Have a good off season. Obviously, we'll catch up in pre-season, pal.